Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk with a Saw right here on Superlative Radio. This week, we only have the 7th episode of Wandavision to talk about.
Short show today.
Yeah, so it's going to be a short show. So apologize in advance for that, because, you know, there's not much else.
We don't got nothing to talk about there.
Yeah, and we're going to, and to be honest, I think by the time WandaVision runs out in the next 2 weeks, then by that point, I think Pennyworth will be back.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
So we'll have Pennyworth for a week or two before Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts the middle of March. So we should be good for stuff to talk about. There might be a week where we don't have anything, but if we do, you know what I think we'll do is if there's a week, if I figure out there's going to be a week where we don't have anything, maybe what we'll do is we'll each watch a movie again and talk about that.
All right, whatever.
In there just to, you know, cover that week.
All right, sure.
Okay, anyway, there we go. WandaVision. And what
You love that, don't
I
you?
do, yeah.
I
What did you think of the episode?
It's getting more and more interesting all the time, the way that
really
it's coming
is.
about. And, you know, sort of seeing Vision getting out of the hex there a little bit. And you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I almost spilled my coffee, but I'm good.
Yeah, you need a shot of something to calm you down? Or
Probably do, yeah. Okay.
You want a fresh one, Jelly?
Yeah, exactly.
He said that to me before we got on the air, and I was just laughing. Yeah,
It's me. Me
and he just set that movie in mind.
It's me.
Yeah. Anyway, we had to restart 3 times because I was laughing too hard. Anyway, yeah, great. It's really turning out good. I'm really interested in the way. I'm just curious to know how they're going to do this.
Well, there is a lot in
But
this
everybody's
episode that we
catching
have
on to the
break
thing.
down.
Like I said, even her brother is like, you know, how do you want to handle this kind of thing? And, you know.
Well, like I said, there is a lot to break down in this episode.
Yeah,
Sure.
I would imagine because I was watching it and I was thinking, you know, okay, so what am I missing and what am I not seeing? And I figured, well, once the Saw talks about it, then I'll kind of clue in on what the hell's happening here because obviously I'm not as, what's the word? I'm not as. I was going to. Not as what?
Versed?
I was going to say, I guess that's a good term to use as versed, because I was thinking as focused, but that's not the word. But versed is the word I'm looking for. Thank you. In it as you are. But, you know, so go ahead, please. Enlighten me and enlighten them. And
I don't know if anybody picked up, but the opening was straight out Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes,
Like-
it was, very much so.
like
Yeah, I noticed. I
right
caught
out
that.
Right out of
Even Marky
that
G
one.
caught that one.
Yeah, I was Malcolm in the Middle. Even
I'm the only one here who's watched every episode of Malcolm in the Middle.
Okay, I've only ever watched a couple of them, but I still knew it was. So then
I
you're
knew what it
versed
was
in that
too.
then. So.
Especially with the way I think it was Billy, not Tommy. I think it was Billy who was talking to the camera.
Yeah, that's right.
Just
Yeah,
like Malcolm did. And,
Fourth wall, yeah.
you know, so of course that was the way it opened and it went through like that.
Almost like that opening kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We get to see of course, you know, Wanda comes down the stairs at the beginning and she's in her comic book costume. I mean, like to a T, it's her comic book costume. And then we see Vision in his comic book costume, which I find really funny. They made hers actually not look that bad, but his looked horrendous, like as if it was like supposed to be completely ridiculous, which I guess is the gag there. And of course, Billy and Tommy were in their comic book costumes. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where they used it to do. Where it was with Halloween.
Oh
Exactly.
well, I think it was Billy especially was in his because he was definitely in his, and Tommy not so much because he eventually just copied Quicksilver's comic book costume, but his is similar to that, only it's green. So I mean, his was the only one that was off a bit, but the others were all bang on. And of course,
What about her brother? Was his
Quicksilver? Yeah,
yeah,
it was his.
okay.
That was the one when he had his costume. That was his comic book
Okay,
costume.
all right. I didn't know that, so that's why I was asking. Okay.
So of course, you know, it starts with you know, Vision's trying to pull one over on Wanda by saying he's going out to do neighborhood watch stuff or
That's right,
whatever.
yeah.
She's like, "You're not supposed to
Work today or something.
You're not supposed to do that or whatever."
Yeah.
And He's like, do what? She's like, oh, no, nothing. You just never told me or whatever. Like it's like she didn't know. So I don't know if you noticed, but when you watch through the whole episode, she has no control over what Vision does.
Nope.
She has no control over what. Pardon me. She has no control over what the boys do, and she has no control over what Pietro does.
Nope.
Now, there are multiple hints throughout the episode about what's actually going on there. And because, when the two of them, not the two of them, like when Wanda and Pietro are, like when they converse throughout the episode, he and her are constantly questioning each other about things. Like you'll notice she says to one of the first things she says to him or whatever is, how come you look different?
That's what I was going to say. That was one of
the... Because
it wasn't him originally, this guy, right?
No.
Right,
No,
okay.
it was the other guy. And they make a reference to how they're connected. When he goes to go off with the kids to get candy or whatever, he says, kick ass. And she goes, kick ass. Well, Kick Ass is a comic book produced by Marvel Comics that him and the guy who played the original Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, they were both in together.
Oh, okay.
When they were younger.
Oh, okay.
So
there was a reference there.
That was the reference, was the Kick-Ass reference. And of course,
So how many people would catch that? That seems like it's a kind of an arcane reference in a way.
It's not. I mean, because that was back in like 2012 or whatever. So Aaron Taylor Johnson was the lead character in Kick-Ass, and Evan Peters, who plays Quicksilver in WandaVision, was his best friend.
Jesus.
So, but
that's awesome.
And it's a Marvel comic.
Right.
So, anyway, they
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, but I mean, also then of course there's the connection that both of them have actually played Quicksilver. Evan Peters played it in the X-Men movies, and Aaron Taylor Johnson played it in the Marvel ones. So it's so there's a whole lot of connecting there.
That is so cool. I see now. I never knew that. That makes it really, really interesting for me.
Yeah. So, of course, they, at one point she questions him about, she's like, where did your accent go? And he says, where did yours? Because they both don't have their accents that they had in Age of Ultron. And they talk about how when they were trick-or-treating one year and they were given the fish.
That's right.
They both remember it differently.
Yeah, that's right.
And of course, he questions her.
And he said share it or something?
Yeah. He questions her about the children. He's like, so where were all the kids? Were they just asleep in their beds?
Yeah, that's right.
And he's like, I don't know, however you've done this, you've kept families together. People have gotten better jobs. How have you, he keeps questioning her on how she's done everything.
Right.
And
she doesn't know.
And she keeps trying to question him on whether he's actually Pietro.
Oh, go ahead. So she's asking.
Yeah, so she, and she constantly is questioning him about things. And they go back and forth, of course, at the end. Did you notice the square they're sitting in is right at a Back to the Future? The town square?
I did not notice that.
You did not notice that? When they're sitting there, you can see it's right, it's the Universal backlot or whatever.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I'll have to
they're
watch
just
it again.
they're right there. Like that's where they were.
Missed it. Oh well. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's right at but you could see it. Even the theater looks identical. Everything. It's crazy. But yeah, so they sit there and they're talking, and of course she sees him at one point. She looks at him and sees him as dead.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that. That's right. Yeah, I saw that.
Of course, they get to talking. She's really trying to pick at her to figure out, and finally she's like, I don't know how I did this or whatever.
That's right.
And then, of course, the boys, their powers start to develop throughout this episode. And
they're speeding like.
Well, Tommy has speed powers, and the other is like a telepath, kind of like his mother. Because
he's the one that knew that his father was in trouble.
His comic book character name is Wiccan, and Tommy's is Speed, I believe, in the comics. So
I didn't know that, but okay.
Anyway, of course, this whole thing as it's going on with them out trick-or-treating and everything, all right? Of course, when they stop one point and talk to, the black guy.
Right.
And he looks at one and he says, do you want me to change something? Do you want anything different or whatever?
That's right.
Like again,
Yep.
and it makes her question that people are starting to realize certain things. Of course, while all this is happening, Vision goes off on his own to try to get out of the Hex barrier. And of course, he meets up with Agnes.
Yeah.
And he touches her, and she tells him that he's dead.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand. He doesn't even know what an Avenger is.
Yeah, that's right. He says that. He's what's an Avenger? That's right. He said that.
And
was she an Avenger?
no.
Oh, okay.
And so then he goes to stride out through the barrier,
Hex, yeah.
and he manages to push his way through it, and he gets out, and of course everybody comes rushing to see what's going on. And as he's coming out, of course, one thing we learn before that through Darcy and Monica and Agent Wu is that the director has been tracking Vision.
Yeah.
Which is funny that that's who he's tracking in there, which again harkens back to why Sword had his body. I'm kind of puzzled as to why the Avengers would have let Sword take his body. I'm really, because
You're thinking there's something going on there?
there is something going on there. It's just like, when we look back at Infinity War, okay, when Thanos comes along and he plucks, the Mind Stone
Right.
out of Vision, and that's basically it, right? Well, the Avengers still have his body. I would have assumed that there's no way Tony would have let anybody take his body. I find it really odd that he would have let someone take his body,
Okay.
right? To take
So
it.
now we find out eventually why that happened? Is this the idea? They're going
Well,
to enlighten us on
of course,
this?
when we seen the episode previous or before, one even before that, I can't remember which one it was, where we see Wanda break into Sword and take his body. It's in pieces on all these tables. And I'm kind of curious as to why why he would let them take his body. Now, maybe he didn't let them take it. I don't know. I just find it odd that he would have let them take it, because he's usually so protective of his technology.
Okay.
But anyway, so they had it. My theory is that Sword, because it's one of the things you notice is when Monica first walks in there, when it shows her for the first time walking in, it says sentient weapons.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right. I remember that.
Well,
I read
it never
that.
used to be. It never used to be sentient. It was something else before that. So I think what it is they're trying to recreate
changing things?
artificial life weapons. Like they're trying to create other things like Vision or Ultron to fight.
Okay.
Is what I think they're doing. It also could lead to the development of the Sentinels. And the Sentinels are mutant hunting.
Yeah, you see those in
robots.
you see those in
the X-Men
Matrix.
movies. No.
The Sentinels are chasing the
Yeah,
ship
no,
and whatever, but they're
no. That's I'm talking about.
oh no, I'm just saying it's the word is what it is. They're hunters.
But in the comic books, the Sentinels hunt down mutants and eradicate them. And as we can see, the director obviously has a problem with superheroes. And so I think that could be what that leads to, especially where the X-Men are going to be coming to the Marvel Universe. Now, the other thing is, of course, we learn that because Monica has passed through the barrier twice, once going in, once coming out, it's rewriting her molecules or whatever, her atoms or whatever on a molecular level, or DNA on a molecular level or whatever. Because I'm going to guess that's how Monica's going to get her powers, because in the comic book she has powers. So I'm guessing that's how it's going to show for her powers getting developed, by being pushed through this and
back and forth through. Okay.
back and forth. It's finally going to do that.
Trigger
And of course,
something.
all this comes around through Darcy. She figures it all out. And so Vision finally pushes his way out. And when he does,
He starts coming apart.
he's trying to tell them out there, you got to help everybody inside. And he starts coming apart, falling apart.
Yeah.
What was really interesting about that is, and I don't know how many people out there actually knows, but when he actually came out, like a lot of people are saying that Wanda recreated the Mind Stone because he has it in his head inside. Well, if you look when he actually comes out, and we'll see if we can't zoom in on it here for everybody to see, but the Mind Stone isn't as bright or as shining as it is inside. So I'm guessing all it is it's just like an effect that she's created, because she can't recreate the Mind Stone.
Interesting. Okay. I
but
didn't catch that. But.
Yeah, but I do believe that what we're going to see because of this is we are going to see Vision probably come back to life. They did it in the comics. They brought him back, and he was all white or gray. I can't remember if it was white or gray. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to bring him back somehow, and this is going to be the way they're going to explain it is through this. I think that there's a possibility that Pietro could be Mephisto, a manifestation of Mephisto.
Why do you think that?
Because I know he's involved. I'm just trying to figure out how he's involved in manipulating Wanda. If him being there as Pietro, especially because he looks different, is to get her to see... I don't know, because you know what the devil is like, right? Like he's supposed to be manipulative and cunning.
That's right,
and
sure.
Whatever. So I'm thinking that could be what it is. I don't know. I'm really trying to figure out how it's. I know it's all connected. Of course, eventually, Billy figures out that Vision is hurt. He sees the soldiers and everything, and right. Wanda expands the. And, well, just before she expands the hex, Quicksilver says, well, it's not like your dead husband can die twice, and she blasts him, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then she expands the hex, like, huge, and envelops the sword base. Everybody there becomes, like, circus performers.
That's right.
And whatever.
It was
turns
weird.
it into a circus. And the only one who gets away is the director and the other two people in his thing, and, of course, Monica and Agent Wu have gotten away because they were already driving away.
But what's her name's stuck to the car.
Darcy was handcuffed to the car, so and I'm going to guess that's going to tie into something that's coming because there's just too much going on that there's just too much going on in the episode that it's there's no way that it's not all connected to something. And I mean, the fact there's only 2 episodes left is just mind-boggling.
So they're really going to have to...
They've got an hour to tie it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, they only got a few minutes to...
They've got an hour to tie it up. And, because...
They're going to have to pack the last 2 with a lot of answers?
Yeah.
Or will they leave stuff for the next one?
Plus, there's still another big reveal coming. There are rumors that when Monica says she knows an aerospace engineer who would find this really fascinating or whatever, there's rumors that could be either Beast or Mr. Fantastic or one of the other really smart people from the Marvel Universe to be introduced still. So, and that's kind of what I thought when she said there's an aerospace engineer. I kind of figured that would connect to one of the other characters that's going to come in as well, because it just made too much sense not to.
Okay, so we see that in the next couple too.
Yeah, like I think that what we're going to see is there's going to be some sort of big reveal where my guess is where they're going to... This is all, like the hex, everything is all going to end, and what's going to happen is I think we're going to find the big reveal is that Vision and Quicksilver are alive again.
Okay, well, let's see if that pans out for you.
But again, I know Mephisto's involved. I'm still trying to figure out how Agnes is involved.
Will they let you know all this, or they're going to save it for...
I don't know how they're going to... I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I don't have all the answers, but I definitely think that they're...
What do you think, Pongo?
That they're involved.
What do you think?
I mean, because there was a lot going on in this episode, and I had to watch it a few times again because there's just so much going on. And I'll have to watch this one again just before the next one comes out because there's just so much to take in, But overall, I mean, I thought it was a good episode. I think that this is a really interesting thing that they're doing. And, of course, if Falcon and the Winter Soldier even turns out to be half as good as this, it'll blow everybody's mind. So
Won't be long, we'll find out.
Yeah, so. What'd you
There
think,
we go.
Mark?
Are we talking about?
WandaVision. What'd you think?
No, I mean, we talking about the end. What happened at the end, or is that a spoiler?
No, there's no spoilers.
No, there's no spoilers. What'd you think?
Well, I thought it showed that you don't mess around with Wanda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the episode, Monica and Darcy both at one point tried to tell the director, "You're outgunned.
Yeah,
Do not."
yeah, that's right.
And he's like, "Nope, we have to take her out." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm with them. You're retarded. If you think you're going to be able to take out Wanda,
Yeah.
she nearly killed Thanos on her own. Like, I mean." People seemed, people.
Well, they brought up that scene about where she had all the guns over on him again.
Yeah.
They brought that up, and it was
Yeah.
still.
Like, what do you think you're going to do against someone who can mind control everybody around you?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Don't mess with Wanda. But like, it's so true. Like, even if you look at just what she's done in the movies, not even this show, just what she's done in the movies. Well, she destroyed an Infinity Stone. And she held back Thanos at the exact same time with her powers. Like, she had one hand blasting Vision's head for the Mind Stone to be destroyed, and the other blasting Thanos back.
Yep.
And he had an Infinity Gauntlet with 5 Infinity Stones in it, and she was holding him off.
That's power.
Okay, then let's go forward. Let's go forward to the next movie. When she finally shows up, she picks him up and begins to rip him apart and crush him all at the same time, to the point where he literally has to get his starship to blast everything to get her to stop. Try to get her to stop. She's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling that this guy who's the director of S.W.O.R.D. would think that he's a match for her, with no matter how many men he's got at his disposal.
Yeah, well,
Like,
there's people that are just.
It's like, I'm sorry, you're not a match. Like, the only person who is a match to take her out is Vision, or possibly Captain Marvel. And I would argue Vision, because she beat Vision in Infinity War, or Civil War. Civil War, she beat him when Hawkeye came to get her.
Well, there you go.
So.
So she's a force to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah, and she's easily one of the most powerful Avengers. So I don't know. I think it's really something. But other than that, what'd you think of it? The whole episode, pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is a good show. So anyway, guys.
It meandered a bit, but the end was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't have
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't
But,
work.
yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. We will catch you guys next week for another episode. And again, we'll only be talking about WandaVision. So the next few episodes are going to be short. But we will catch you guys next week for another one. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Don't forget to check out our other stuff on Superlative Radio.
Please, yep.
And our YouTube page. Please like.
Subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Yep. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody. Just,
if
put it out there for us, will you?
If all you do is just click like, just clicking like alone helps the channel so much, because liking our videos tells YouTube that this is content that should be shared with other people.
There you go.
Okay,
That helps.
so at the very least, if that's all you can do is click like, please click the like button. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you guys next week.
See you later. Stay healthy.